Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Wednesday night plot with us.
Hi. Glad you could be here.
Yeah, so we have been, if you're new here, I'm Lisa and this is Molly, and we've been switching off. So, like, I will do contemporary cozy mystery stuff, and then she will do paranormal cozy mystery things. So, tonight is a Molly night.
Right. Yeah, it's about creating a hauntingly fun, cozy setting. And I do the paranormal side of things because that's what I write is paranormal cozy mysteries. And so I've created a slideshow to help us enhance our cozy mysteries with an extra cozy haunted vibe. So
Perfect.
all right. So I'll go ahead and get right into that here. Oop, hang on. I need to hit share down here. Sorry. Present, share screen. Here we go. Sorry, I am new to this with clicking and sharing. Here we go. All right. Are you seeing?
Yep.
Okay,
I see your full desktop. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Don't want to do the desktop. Here we are. All right. So actually, I was going to go ahead and open our session by you and I talking about how we're going to be putting together our Cozy Club Getaway. And we have dates for that, right?
Yeah, for sure. We have dates. It's April 9th through the 11th. So it is right in the middle of the week, a Tuesday through Thursday.
Yes. So it's going to be in San Diego. Mm-hmm. And this is your hometown. You're very blessed to be living in San Diego with the wonderful weather. You don't even have fall or winter yet. I don't think.
I mean, you did grow up in California.
I did.
You chose to leave.
That's true. Yes. I was more, by the beaches that had fog, though. You're by the beaches that have sun.
Yes, so. It is much different in southern than northern.
Right. So we're going to be by the beaches and we're going to be hanging out, and we would love for you all to join our info session that's going to be live. I did not put the dates on this, but it's also you have
as long as you sign up, there's info in the description below. So as long as you sign up, then you'll get a reminder, and we'll be doing it not next week, the Tuesday right after Thanksgiving, because we feel like everyone's traveling next week. So it'll be the Tuesday right after Thanksgiving, same time, right here on this channel, and we'll go through all of the details on logistics and travel and what we're doing every day.
Okay, so please check it out with us. We would love to see some of you in person. It'd be so fun. So we'll go ahead and get right into the topic then of a hauntingly cozy setting. It will give you ideas here to enhance your own cozies. And so, like I said, I write paranormal cozies. And so I have a couple of different pen names. I write under Claire Kane and I write under Lily Graves. And I'm actually deeply considering combining everything under my real name, Molly Burton, so that people could easily find all my work. So yeah, and A Ghostly Dare, it has a lot of haunting vibes there, and actual ghost in there, and some things that aren't from an actual ghost, but from a person behaving like a ghost. And in The Cat and the Witch Hat, we have a paranormal setting to do with a whole witch community and warlocks as well. So yeah, we're not just going to be talking about ghosts per se. So here's a preview of the top 10 ways to enhance your paranormal cozy mystery setting that we're going to be going through. So we're going to talk about the weather, abandoned or decaying settings, unsettling sounds, personification, light and shadows, incorporating historical or paranormal elements, isolation or loneliness, repeated symbolism, local folklore and legends, and character reactions. So all of these things can add to the ambiance of your setting. So the first one, we've all heard of It Was a Dark and Stormy Night opening, right? Opening a book. And a lot of times I've heard, I don't know if you, Lisa, have heard people say, oh, be careful about talking about the weather or opening with weather. But I think, have you heard anything like that?
I've always heard never open with they were dreaming or they were sleeping.
Oh, right. I've heard that one too. But I think for the weather, that's one of those rules you could put aside. If you're writing something suspenseful, mysterious, cozy mystery, the weather could really enhance the feeling in your story. Go ahead and start with a thunderstorm or some fog rolling in. What other ways could we add a scary ambiance through the weather? It's like the pitter patter on the ceiling.
Wind.
Right. The wind, if it's a windy night. We have eerie moonlight, right? Things like that.
I mean, you could actually go the whole dystopian route where you have a hurricane, a volcano.
Right. I actually, and here's the thing, I did write a cozy called Hexes and X's, where I had a community of some certain people from the town stuck in this huge mansion because there were hurricane warnings. So they could not leave, and like trees were falling outside and hitting the house. And so it just really enhanced that spooky vibe.
Yeah, when the weather can kill you, it's scary.
Right. I'll probably use the word spooky a lot in here because I know it's kind of juvenile too. Spooky makes you think of Scooby-Doo, but it also gets right to the point. We want a spooky vibe. So the second thing, abandoned or decaying settings in themselves, like the house is abandoned and it's rotting in different areas, or there's a cemetery and there's dug up like rotted bones, things like this. The actual place, if it's abandoned or it's decaying, that immediately can bring that kind of mystical, otherworldly vibe, of death and the other side. Gives a ghostly feeling, right?
It's like that 80s movie Poltergeist, where the house was built on top of a cemetery.
Oh my gosh, I forgot that it was built on top of a cemetery. But yeah, that's perfect, right? So think of the place itself where the mystery is happening. Make it abandoned or decaying. Okay, so number 3, now to enhance your setting, of course, have unsettling sounds, right? You hear about like haunted houses, the dragging of chains. It sounds like down a hallway, right?
Yep.
Distant whispers and howling winds. So like in one of my books, The Riddles of Hillgate, I have all kinds of unsettling sounds because they are in an abandoned house and they hear some faint music at night. And you know what I was thinking is if you take a sound that typically is happy or cutesy or almost even babyish, like a lullaby sound, and you put it in the middle of something scary, doesn't that almost like that juxtaposition of this innocent sound in the middle of something scary actually freak you out more?
Oh, yeah, it could in horror movies.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think of that. Like, yeah, so if you hear giggling of children in the middle of the night, I think that would like pop us all out of bed, right? Like, what is that?
Yeah, especially if you don't have any kids.
Right. Yeah, that too. No excuses then. It's like, who is the ghost in the room? So yeah, use some unsettling sounds whenever you can. That's the other sense that we have. You want to fill all your senses. So I'm going through this pretty fast too, but
that's okay.
I don't have to be too deep with this stuff. So number 4 is personification, and this is one of my personal favorites. Like some of these, again, are kind of like the cliches of reaching tree branches, right? Or howling wind. So you can use personify your house, personify your landscape kind of as much as you can. It becomes metaphors that can creep you out even more because it gives your environment almost like emotion and intention. It's like the environment itself has a soul and it wants to come after you when it's in a mystery, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I have plenty of personification in my mysteries. I just love, the sound of something screeching or something's reaching for you. Or it could even be like you talk about a house, like the abandoned house situation, and you give it an adjective like it's desperate. It's a desperate house, it caving in and weeping in different areas is desperate. So you can give them even these describing words that you would give an actual person, or take those ideas, how you would describe your murderer, and apply them to the landscape.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could creep you out pretty much. So number 5, it's kind of like with art. I know, Lisa, you do graphic design too, and light versus darkness in artwork, the contrasts between them, it could really bring out an image, right? It's like it enhances each other to show such stark difference. So, like, what are some examples that we can use for light amidst darkness in our story that can creep out the reader, add to that ambiance? Like, I could think off the top of my head right now, like a single candle in the middle of a dark abandoned house.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the distance in a corner, and the character is walking toward it slowly. And that's the only glow of light there. And the color of the light, the location of the light, just all of that can really, really add to the creep factor.
Yeah. Or maybe the electricity goes out, or even if it's daytime, maybe they have to go into a dark warehouse with no lights, or they have to go into the basement. There's no lights.
Yes.
Or maybe they're blinded. Someone throws something in their eyes and they can't see.
Right. Yep. The whole like going unconscious where darkness is surrounding you,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're out. Yeah, it can bring a real visceral response to your readers, I think, to go ahead and play with light and shadows,
Mm-hmm.
just like you would if you're like drawing a very striking portrait of somebody.
Yes.
So, yeah. Are you able to see if anybody has any comments at this moment, or?
You can see on the right too. Yeah, nobody had any comments at all.
Okay. It's just mine is kind of filling my entire screen at the moment.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
So number 6, incorporate historical or paranormal elements. So that's pretty like, of course, if you're writing a paranormal cozy, have fun with those elements, right? When you're writing about witches, really let the witches in the story shine. Now, in my story, Hexes and X's, like the witches in that story itself, I don't think they were spotlighted enough. I feel like they ended up being too much into the background of the mystery. But a reader, if they hear that there's witches or vampires, I think you really need to do your duty to fill up your book with that, to create that setting that they really like and expect. So yeah, introduce historical events or paranormal phenomena tied to the setting to add depth and an otherworldly feel. So like you could also make sure that your settings, maybe the abandoned house, has a history to it in itself. And there are paranormal phenomena that are happening within that house.
Yep.
Okay, so further into enhancing your haunting setting, talk about isolation or loneliness. So if you portray a sense of isolation or loneliness, it could, for instance, have your characters feel like they are alone in solving this crime. They're being watched by the murderer. They're very vulnerable to a potential attack. And so they're on guard. What kind of ways can we think of how to make our characters feel very lonely in a spooky setting?
Well, their
Think
friends
about,
could get killed.
yes, their friends can get killed.
They're all alone.
That is very true. They could be stuck somewhere, locked in somewhere. Yes, in the basement. Different, yeah, all these different things. And they feel like you could take away their cell phones somehow or have them lose reception. I don't know.
Or their friend that they were with that's supposed to help them could become possessed. And now their friend is trying to kill them.
Oh my goodness. Right. Right. So your main characters, their isolation in their situation, their sense of loneliness and helplessness, that will help enhance this spooky setting for sure. And I like this little graphic that has like the skeleton hand and the two hearts there. It reminds me of that zombie love movie that came out a little while ago.
Which one? There's
Warm Bodies. Warm Bodies.
Oh, yeah.
So we're on number 8 of 10, symbolic objects or imagery to help your cozy setting feel more haunting, right? So if they recur, if it becomes kind of like a symbolic theme throughout your spooky mystery, then anytime they see that object, anytime the writer mentions it, they could be like, oh my gosh, I know what's coming next. You know, it's the murderer's calling card, or it's the ghost's way of communicating. Or when, for instance, there's a certain sound that a movie plays, like with Mike Myers before he attacks. It's the way it prepares your reader to know, like, oh gosh, those candles, those mirrors, this sound, it's coming. Something's happening, right? So I thought that was a good thing for us to think about, having a symbol that pops up a lot to give that visceral emotion to the reader, like, oh my gosh, it's coming, maybe even before the character realizes there's danger. So the number 9, local folklore and legends create an air of mystique and intrigue. So in your setting, you should be having that world building starting, right? In that very first book in the series, your paranormal series. Start showing, who are the paranormal characters, whether they're witches, vampires, or maybe there's witches and vampires, right? So get into the background of these characters so you could feel like you're a part of a mystical club. You're in the community with everybody. And then the last one, your character reactions, how you write your character and their reactions to the setting enhances the setting. So that makes sense too, right? Like if something, a chandelier falls and breaks, you're not going to have your main character just stand there and be like, whatever. So have them definitely show reaction through a variety of ways. One of them is the mental side, of course, like uncertainty or suspicion. They're trying to analyze what is happening here. The visceral side, which goes deeper, like in the inner feelings that are more, gut. And the physical, like weak legs or going numb. And the social. Now, this one creeps me out kind of the most. It sounds like the funnest to play with out of all these. For instance, like, we know how we're supposed to act in social situations, but a murderer is probably pretending to be polite, right? And there will be clues that he's containing something or hiding something. Kind of like this vampire here has the bloodshot eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he looks like maybe he hasn't had sleep in forever, but vampires sleep a lot, right? So the trying to behave polite, but there's like a creep factor, really could make, goosebumps for your readers. So I think just show like opposing physical reactions to their social interactions, if that makes sense. So I always like, I like to get into true crime. And so I like to learn about how actual murderers, how they interacted socially. And some of them were really good, like Ted Bundy. But it just makes you wonder, like, what clues would have seeped through the cracks of his social image, right?
Yeah. Yeah, serial killers are usually sociopaths, so that's probably a good example. I think too, you could do like reactions, like your number 10 example. If someone's super superstitious and then, I don't know, mirror breaks or something, they could just be like, oh, it's a sign.
Yes. Good point. So yeah, the setting play into their fears like that. Right. Very good. Well, that's basically what I have. And then I've given us a free download for this segment so that you can be brainstorming these 10 ideas on how to enhance your own cozy. Have areas where you can write your own thoughts. And then there's a little section about brainstorming, what authors do you look up to that write maybe paranormal cozies or mysteries in general? And what makes their settings stand out to you? So, yeah. Thanks.
We're actually at the midpoint of Nano. So if anyone's here and you're doing Nano, let us know how you're doing. I think Molly and I'm not a Nano person. I did it once back in like 2013 or something. And it was like, I wasn't happy. It was a miserable experience. And wasn't able to go to the gym and I was trying to work and I took vacation days. I don't know. I didn't like the pressure. I don't do well under pressure anyway. So, but I know some people love it and thrive on it. I'm definitely not.
I participated one year. I don't remember which of my books I worked on during that time, but if I'm going to be writing a ton, I'm more of like just pressuring myself in general. I don't need the month to tell me like to do it. I'm pressuring myself a ton. And it's been a little while for me to finish my next book to release. So I haven't been pressuring myself enough. So maybe this month could have been good for me.
Could have. I don't know. I think I need like inner motivation to write. Like I need to just be excited to write versus like having a deadline or even like accountability. When we met sometimes to write, I was like, I don't really feel like it. And then we would write and then like not my best stuff would come out because I'm like, I have so many other things I need to do on my to-do list.
Right.
So I don't know what the answer is though. I've tried like a lot of different things.
Like chasing a word count goals. Is that ever help?
Like this month I was trying to do a page, like just do 2 pages a day. And even then I've like fallen behind. So
I see. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like that could work. That sounds like a good idea. But yeah, sometimes certain things work and certain things don't. And I definitely need to just maybe do the whole sit in the chair and just write, even if it's awful.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more mindset. Like I have to just accept that it's going to suck. Whereas like I guess what happens is, I don't know about you, I wait so long to write that when I do write, I'm like, okay, because I've waited so long and I thought about it, this should be a masterpiece I'm putting out instead of just like going with the flow and writing garbage.
Well, and I think I do the opposite. It's like when I've been on such a roll for such a while and I'm publishing and then period of like not releasing something, then it's kind of like, how did I do that before? You know, it's like magical. Am I going to be able to do this again? Can I accomplish this again? And I always can, you know, but it just makes you wonder, like, you look back and you can be in awe of what you've performed, and then it can feel like, can I do this again? It's maybe similar to what's that syndrome where you feel like, oh, maybe I'm not as good, you know, as it seems. But
yeah, I've heard that before.
A lot of writers go through that. But yeah, so anyway, maybe I should get back in my seat and finish my book.
I honestly think I just have a lot of stuff going on. I have too much stuff going on. I need less things so that I can concentrate or focus on a couple things. So I feel like that's my biggest problem.
Sometimes, like what I learned this last week, there was a saying about, it's not always about adding to your to-do list. It can be about taking away from your to-do list. So focusing on the most important things you want to accomplish. But yeah.
Yeah, if I could take more things away, that would be great.
So anyway, this was fun getting together, and I wore my ghost earrings even though it's after Halloween, but the camera is a little fuzzy, I hear. So
yeah, they honestly just look like it's a white thing behind you.
Right. Apparition.
The table is white behind you. I thought maybe it was just holes in your hair.
Yes. So we're going to be meeting again next time. You're going to be teaching. So
just I hope everyone has great Thanksgiving plans, and we obviously hopefully won't be shopping next week. And then I know I don't want to shop. And then after that, we'll meet the following week on Tuesday for the info session. And then again, the very next night on Wednesday, I'm going to be talking about how to create your characters.
Yay. Very cool.
Or really just how to create the protagonist, the number one character.
The most important. Yes.
The most important one. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll look forward to being back with you again.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Everyone.